Well, hello everyone. Welcome to the Maine Pageant place. Today is our pilot episode, and we have the wonderful and beautiful Brooke Hume.
Hi.
Welcome, Brooke. How's your day been today?
It's been good. I worked all day. I work at a family practice as a medical assistant, so I'm a little bit tired, but it's been overall a pretty good day.
Well, thank you so much for making it in today for this. Tell me, did you grow up here in Maine?
I did. I was born and raised here. I left for about 2.5 years to California and then made my way back.
Awesome. Is this where you got your pageant journey started? Was in Maine or was that out in California?
I got started here in Maine. I got introduced by my best friend of almost 20 years. I got to be her backstage hand and met so many wonderful people, and they just kind of encouraged me to take the leap. So
Well, I see you have a beautiful sash on now and a crown in your crown box. Tell me a little bit about the current title that you hold.
So I am the current Ms. Maine Military Star. I will be competing for their national pageant at the end of June. It's kind of a pageant that I hold close. My grandparents served, specifically my grandfather. He served in the Korean War. So it's kind of an awesome way to give back to our veterans.
Absolutely. I love that you tied that family history into a pageant that really meant something on a deeper level for you. I was looking at your resume and saw that you have been awarded quite a few accolades lately. Is there one that stands out more than not to you?
I was awarded the Headset Hero Award by the nonprofit Pier 1022 for my work for the Days In fire down in Kittery. I was fresh, not even a week off of training, and we had a 6+ structure fire of a hotel, and we all worked together, kind of started throwing darts, trying to find mutual aid, but our quick thinking really helped to keep it from spreading.
Wow, that is amazing work. And I love that they honored you for that right out of the Lion's Gate, just jumping in head first.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit more about that upcoming journey for nationals. What does that look like for you? How are you preparing?
I spend quite a few nights, quiet nights on night shift when I get to practice interview questions. I kind of bug my coworker Taylor a lot to go bounce off ideas with her. But mostly, I've just been trying to enjoy the journey for it. And I've got almost all of my outfits picked out. Just need to get my interview down and my evening gown.
Oh, that's fantastic. You're definitely on a good pace. Is this the first national pageant that you'll be a part of?
It's not. My first national pageant was actually American Miss, and I competed there for the very first time in November of 2023.
Oh, wow. So you're still a new relative pageant girly to the scene, huh?
I am brand new to the scene. I've competed quite a few times already, and I kind of jumped in whole body first. I'm also a regional director for New England Civic Miss as well, so I kind of jumped in both sides of the world.
Wow, that's amazing that you're still so new and yet you have a Maine state title around you right now. That's an incredible
Yeah,
feat. Congratulations on
thank
that.
you.
Tell me a little bit more about the American Civic Miss pageant. What kind of brought you into that sphere?
It was just presented to me by one of my good friends. She's my co-director, Cindy. She didn't want to do it alone, and I was like, you know what? I'm up for the challenge. Let's do it. And I really resonate with them. They are more of a role model pageant. And so they focus on a lot more of your community service. And we raise money for the nonprofit that they have to help fund women in sports in our local high schools.
Wow. So it sounds like pretty much everything you give back to comes back to some sort of community based within your heart. That's a really amazing way to approach pageantry. And you probably get a lot more from those experiences.
I do. I get so much from them. I really enjoy giving back to others. And, I didn't come from the greatest background. So I kind of know what it feels like to be left out or not have access to things like competing in sports or getting to do field trips or things like that. And so finding ways to give back to others to show them you'll come out on the other end is important to me.
I love that you highlighted that. I think that's a similarity you and I have was we both kind of had tough starts, so we didn't get a lot of that opportunity. And I think it's important to know that as we age, we can still approach these things and still chase things that maybe we only perceived were for our youths or our younger lives. So it's really good representation.
Thank you.
So, tell me a little bit more on a personal level of what pageantry might have brought you in skill base or confidence. What has your experience been in that self-building mode?
My first experience going into Mrs. Maine America and Miss Maine America Strong, where I was a backstage person. I got to meet all of the women competing that weekend, and they were so amazing. And they really made sure to kind of like pull me aside and tell me that I was just a really great friend and that I was really hyping all of them up. So when I decided to compete, I did American Miss, and that was an amazing experience. But the first one that I actually set my sights on was Crown of America, which me and my best friend got to do together, which is amazing, getting to hit the stage together. Um, I had some tough times in that one, but I think every time I have stepped out on stage, it's helped me become more of my own person and to really own my confidence. I don't have the typical pageant queen body that you see on the TV, but it's important that I show other women that it doesn't matter what size you are, how tall you are, how short you have a space in this world, and that you can rock the stage no matter what.
Absolutely. We all deserve a seat at that table. And I love that you're using pageantry as a way to help exude and showcase that for others. I think that that's so important.
Yeah, thank you.
I think something else a lot of us have in common if you kind of pursue this industry is you have different experiences at different pageants, which is why it's really great to kind of do a little research, figure out what their whole main goal is and what they want to showcase and highlight, which is again another reason I love that you're at Military Star now, tying into your family connection.
I know, I'm super excited. One of the things that we get to do in this one, of course, is Americana. And once we get to perform, I'm excited to share it with everybody because it does pay homage to my grandmother and my grandfather, who both served during the Korean War. So,
Do you think that that's going to be one of your favorite part of your experience, getting to debut and showcase that costume?
yeah, I'm really excited. We've been working on tailoring it to customize it to myself. So it's kind of a two-part costume. So you guys will have to check back in the future, and I'll make sure to share it with you.
We'll definitely keep our eyes out for that. Something else I'm hearing that you're mentioning is the common thread of sisterhood and how these connections supersede just that moment of that weekend of being on stage and in the pageant world. What's been the best part of those connections for you that you've made in the last 2 years?
It has brought me so many amazing women that are in a similar headspace because I think a lot of women, especially in the main pageant world, when you join, you're joining because you want to have a bigger impact on your community and you have such a fierce goal. And so for me, mine is PCOS awareness. It's something that I have where another woman that I compete with that I'm still best friends with today, Miranda, she started a nonprofit called Recycle for MS, where she donates all of the money she gets from recycling bottles to the MS Society. So
That's another great thing we love about pageantry is you get to hear and explore other people's platforms. So it really helps you integrate into the community and learn those needs where there's gaps where you can assist and where things are thriving that you can support to continue keeping them that way. So it really seems like you're taking full advantage of everything that pageantry has to offer.
definitely, that's been the goal. Um, as a woman with PCOS, I didn't have a lot of resources or community around it. But even just being in the pageantry world, and whether you have it or not, everybody has been so curious of wanting to know what it is. But not only that, but wanting to help spread your platform as well, which has been so awesome to see.
Absolutely. If you had to give a new pageant girly or somebody who's on the fence about joining one for the first time some advice, what would that be?
I would tell them to just do it. If you go in the first time and your main goal is just to go and have fun, you're still gonna learn so much, and that was the best part I think I could take away from my first competition was I didn't walk in wanting to necessarily win. I wanted to walk in to just have fun, to gain the experience, and to meet people, and I think that really showed on stage. I mean, there were so many people that couldn't even believe that it was my first time competing just because I took out the pressure, and I think that's the biggest thing is just let yourself have fun and don't hold yourself back.
So, Brooke, let's talk a little bit more about your platform.
So, my platform is PCOS Hope Warrior, Finding Light in the Shadows of Diagnosis. So, PCOS is Polycystic Ovary Syndrome. It's a metabolic and hormonal disorder that affects at least 1 in 10 women, and most likely more than that because it's very highly undiagnosed. And it's one thing that has really shaped most of my life because I went into the doctor to get birth control, and they were like, okay, you haven't had a cycle in a long time, so we need to do some testing before we can do that. And I got the diagnosis, and they were like, well, it's PCOS, so here's some birth control. There you go. There was no description on what it was, what to do to help it, or anything like that. And it wasn't until a year later when I moved to California, I went and found a new doctor because I finally had health insurance. And I walked in and I sat down and I had explained to the medical assistant that I had PCOS. And when the doctor walked in, she didn't even look up from her clipboard at all. She just said, yeah, it looks like you should lose some weight without introductions, without saying anything. That was it. And then spent the whole appointment talking about surgery options and medications. And then when I told her I wanted to do it naturally, it was, well, don't eat anything that has a parent, which is a little baffling to me, a little overwhelming. Nothing that really talked about my PCOS, still no description on what it even was. And when I decided to then do my own research, it was heartbreaking to me to see that my story wasn't uncommon, that it was almost universal across the board. And there's like no research on it at all, which is crazy to me because it's the leading cause of infertility. And so my hope is to use my platform to really advocate for more funding for research, to find a cause, find some kind of treatments or anything like that, because we don't have that.
Well, I can't thank you enough for how honest and open you are about that. And really, you're helping educate so many through pageantry and your sash and crown. And that's really so important. And I hope that we have more queens that follow in your footsteps because you help other people feel more not alone. And that's really what we need in this world, Brooke.
Thank you so much. I'm glad I could come here today, and thank you for having me as your first guest. I'm super honored.
Absolutely. We're thrilled to have you here. And we can't wait to see what you do next. And we will keep everybody posted of what happens at nationals and what your costume looks like.
Thank you.
Of course. Thank you, Brooke.